And I will call Capital One versus Catherine Perry, 250-2666 GC. Okay. Ms. Wilshire or somebody from her office?
Yes, sir. Michael Spolman, P41216. And Judge, I'm off counsel for Ms. Wilshire and Buckles for this morning's pretrial conference.
Okay. SPOELMAN. What's your P number, counsel?
P41216.
All right. Ms. Perry, your name, ma'am? You have to unmute, ma'am.
Sorry.
There you go.
My name is Catherine Perry.
All right. This is a breach of contract case. They think you owe $7807.73. Do you agree that you owe that amount?
Yes, I agree.
Do you want to see if you can go into a breakout room with Mr. Spolman and see if you can't resolve it? What?
Your Honor, actually, we already did have the benefit of a breakout room, and she's acknowledged that she does owe the money that's claimed. My understanding is that she's willing to enter into or allow the entry of a consent judgment for the amount requested. However, there is nothing regarding repayment at this point because of her personal circumstances. So
let's do this. Is that right? There's going to be a consent judgment in that amount of $7807.73 plus your costs, right, counsel?
That's my understanding, Judge.
Give me your breakdown, if you would.
Yes, sir. The principal sum, $7,807.73. As the court's indicated, $121.50 of the court costs for the filing and service fee. There is no statutory or other attorney fees sought or included in these amounts. So that leaves the total judgment of $7,929.23.
All right. Again, ma'am, you agree that you owe that amount?
I agree. I owe it. I'm on.
I understand. I just want you to answer my questions. I'm going to try to help you here.
Okay. Yes, sir. I owe the money.
Okay. And so are you agreeing to enter into a consent judgment?
Yes.
Does Mr. Spolman have permission to sign your name to a proposed consent judgment?
Yes.
Now let's talk about repayment. We can do one of two things. You can either file a motion for installment payments, or I can hear it now. I can hear it right now, and we can insert it right in the judgment or in a separate order, depending on the preference of plaintiff's counsel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, if you would, Ms. Perry. You solemnly swear or affirm that you will, the testimony you will give in these proceedings will be the whole true self you've got.
I agree. I do.
Okay. Tell me you can put your hand down. Tell me your means of income right now.
I am on disability. My husband was severely ill and had surgery, and he's in recovery. So right now we're in a hardship and we're living off my disability.
All right. Well, counsel, what are you asking for?
Well, Judge, as we discussed in the breakout room, what Buckles is looking for is to get this paid off in 24 monthly installments, $330.38. Obviously, that would be subject with a 13% statutory interest rate for these types of cases. But she explained some of her hardships to me, Judge, and frankly, she's in it appears to be a very difficult situation that she can only offer the $25 that she mentioned. And so I don't know if we can get an agreement on that at this point in time.
I'll make the decision. How's that? She has nothing you can garnish, right? She's got nothing you can garnish.
It doesn't sound like it, Judge. I don't know.
Ma'am, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order you to pay $50 per month. And we're going to start that beginning on, today is the 8th, right?
Yes.
I'm going to start this beginning October the 5th, okay? $50 per month, beginning October the 5th. Counsel, if you don't want to get in trouble with your client, you're going to sign your name to a consent judgment, and he has your permission to do that, right? For the full amount of the judgment, right?
Yes.
And then you can submit a separate order, if you would, please, for installment payments, $50 per month, beginning, what did I say, October the 5th?
Yes, you did.
So will you do that for me, please, counsel?
Judge, since I'm just a pinch hitter here for the hearing, if we can transfer all of that and the authority to sign her name to Buckles and Buckles, I'll have them attend to that properly.
All right. You don't have any issue with that, right, Ms. Perry?
No, I do not, sir.
All right. You have a great day. I wish you and your husband well, ma'am. Best of luck to you. Thanks,
Thank
counsel.
you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Perry.
You too. Towering Construction.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Pauline Bynum and Loretta Bynum, 2501334.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Jeff Forster. I'm here with Pauline Bynum and Loretta Bynum.
Good morning, Your Honor. Edward Ewald on behalf of the plaintiff, Towering Construction.
Okay. Counsel, am I right that this is your motion to vacate the default judgment?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So I just want to make sure I have everything under, my understanding is correct. Plaintiff filed its complaint on March 28th. There was a proof of service dated April 16th indicating defendants had been served. Judgment was entered by default on June 4th. Plaintiff filed a writ of garnishment in early July. And defendant filed an objection to garnish. You want to go ahead and proceed with your motion?
I do, Your Honor. It's as I mentioned in the motion with my exhibits, both my clients were in an online video at the time of service that was being hosted from their home, which is date stamped and timed, and that's the time that the service was allegedly took place. Also, probably more importantly, in the complaint the address was wrong, and in the proof of service I've got a Garden City zip code on it.
Wait a second, slow down. The proof of service says defendant was served. It looks like 28778. I can't read this, counsel. Colony Drive, is it?
Colony, that's correct.
They weren't living there?
Yeah, on Grosse Ile, but the zip code here says 48136, which is Garden City.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, he made a mistake on the zip code.
Well, what I did was I tried to reach out to the process server and couldn't get him on any phone line that I was given, and so I hired a detective to look into the guy, and he's a 20-something-year-old kid that lives between Ohio and Michigan, and he's a gig worker, mostly does those delivers food and that kind of thing for a few bucks here and there. He's not a process server by trade or anything of that nature. He just picked up the gig work and filled out the paperwork and took the money. So,
counsel, what do you have to say, Mr. Ewald?
The process serving company that I use is a very reputable group. They're federal agents. They deal with the Marshal Service. They hire people that they have a lot of trust in. They're telling me that the service was proper. With regards to Mr. Perry's history, I don't know how counsel knows that he's not experienced in serving papers. The proof of service says what it says. The default was entered. Nobody responded. The default went to the same address, and it was only after there was a garnishment that was served on the bank that I believe that the objection was raised.
Jennifer or Linda, where did we send the default judgment?
Hang on one second.
And that's what you sent it to, right, Jen or Linda?
Correct.
And when was that sent from the courthouse?
June 4th.
And when did the writ of garnishment, when was that filed?
The writ of garnishment it was a non-periodic, was the date of issue was July 2nd.
Loretta Bynum, tell me your name.
Loretta Bynum, Your Honor.
And how about Pauline, your name?
I'm Pauline Muscat now, formerly Pauline Bynum, Your Honor.
Did you guys receive a copy of the judgment?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't receive a copy of the judgment either?
I received a copy in the mail from you guys.
When?
June?
Why didn't you take action then before the garnishment was filed?
The first that I heard of it, I gave was from PNC Bank. And I immediately contacted Jeff at that point, Your Honor. I believe that might have been in July.
So the default was mailed out in June and the garnishment was on July 2nd. That's a whole month.
Yeah, I know. And the total amount of the judgment, Mr. Ewald, was how much again, please?
I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was $7,500.
Does your client have a defense to this, counsel? Let's say that there was no service, or let's say that there was service. Count it however you want. What's their defense?
We've got a chain of emails back or voice messages back and forth from the Todd, I believe it is, where she wrote a check for the services and then told her that he didn't want her to do it, and it was all recorded on text messages back and forth, and so he knew full well about it that she didn't want the check cashed.
Was this a down payment, Mr. Ewald?
I believe it was payment for supplies that they were requiring to do the job.
Did they already purchase the supplies?
According to my client, he did, yes.
You guys want to go in and try to resolve this, or you want me to make a ruling? It's up to you. Whatever you want me to do. He's a contractor, right? They're a contractor, right?
Correct.
And wherever they bought the supplies, they probably frequently do business with, right?
Correct.
And they probably took back the supplies for nothing, right?
That I don't know.
All right. Do you guys want to go into a room and talk, or do you want me to rule? It's up to you. It's up to you.
My inclination is to go ahead and rule.
I have no problem with his ruling, Judge.
I'm going to set aside the default judgment. I mean, there's at least sufficient questions in my mind as to whether or not there was proper service. I see what happened. She canceled the check, or they canceled, put a stop payment on the check, and probably conveyed exactly what you said. That's at least, there's at least a defense here that the plaintiff was out nothing. Here's what I'm doing, counsel. We're going to move this along, though, gentlemen. It's been going on for a while, so I'm gonna go ahead right now, and then I won't have to bother anybody. Mr. Forrester, I need from you today a order setting aside default judge. Order setting aside default judge. Court being fully advised. Now, I'm going to go ahead, unless somebody wants to tell me, Judge, I don't want to do the pretrial now because I haven't had sufficient notice. I'm going to save you guys some time, and we're going to go ahead and set this up and do a pretrial right now. Anybody have an objection?
Well, I do have a brief objection, Your Honor, and that is, I think I should be entitled to some costs here, $250. I mean, she acknowledges that she got the judgment. She was put on notice here, and you're setting it aside.
I get it. I get it. I'm not going to award costs. Here's what I'm doing, Mr. Forrester, and I want you to understand, even though I'm setting aside for you defendants, what's your P number, Mr. Forrester?
52-132.
Even though I'm setting this aside, I don't think you're without fault here. I want to be clear about that. You can't ignore something. What's your P number, Mr. Ewald?
43751.
you can't ignore something when you receive a judgment in the mail. I have my doubts about whether or not you weren't served. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. We're going to have discovery open until November 7th. Witness lists are due October 7th. Give me that same time for a trial date. I'm not going to adjourn the trial, boys and ladies and gentlemen, okay? So we're going to go ahead and there's not going to be a settlement conference date. Give me that same
12,
trial.
12/1 at 10 o'clock.
Yep. No motions for no motions will be heard on the date of trial. All motions for summary have to be filed and heard not later than 20 days before the trial date. There will be no motions in limine since there's no jury. Nobody demanded a jury. I'm putting down 1/2 hour per trial. If we have to go longer, that's fine. Witness lists are due October 7th. You don't have to file a trial brief. If you choose to file it, it has to be filed and exchanged not later than 7 days before the trial date. Again, I want to be clear, no adjournments of the trial, okay? Please send me that order this morning, Mr. Forrester.
I will, Your
Your
Honor.
Honor, I apologize to object, but I have a pretty significant medical procedure scheduled at 8 o'clock on December 1 that I can't move because then they'll push it back.
That's fine. You don't even have to tell me how you have to start your video again or something. Tell me when you think you'll be in the position to try the case.
Oh, the next day, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th.
Okay, that's fine.
Test.
That's fine. You want to? Do we have December 8th available, Linda?
No, Your Honor, it would be the 15th.
15th at 10 o'clock. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
Same other thing, and I thank you both. Make sure you submit that order this morning, Mr. Forrester.
I will, Your Honor.
Have a good day, you guys. Thank you very much.
Right. Yep. Bye.
What do I got? Kyla Alessia Bynum, 25T721182. Good morning there, Detective. Your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Detective Corporal Shush Bayak, Tri Police Department.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you'll give in these proceedings will be the whole true self you got.
I do, Your Honor.
Is the defendant in custody right now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
On September 4th, 2025, at approximately 15:43 hours, Sergeant Pugh, Corporal Higgins, and Patrolman K were dispatched to 2855th Street in the city of Trenton, County of Wayne, on a domestic violence report between a mother and daughter. Officers arrived on scene, and Sergeant Pugh spoke to the victim, Keita Nicole Moore, 8280, outside, while Higgins and K spoke with suspect and arrestee, Kyla Alicia Bynum, DOB 625 of 03, inside the residence. Kyla stated that she and Keita had gotten into a verbal argument at first because Keita was yelling at her sister, Eris Jailmore, 39 of 2010, about her not wanting to play basketball anymore. Keita stated she was on the phone, and Kyla began to call her a bitch and to tell her to shut the fuck up. Kyla then took out her phone and began getting in the face of Keita. Keita then attempted to push Kyla away from her, and Kyla began punching her in the face multiple times. At this point, a fight ensued in which both parties began wrestling and punching one another. Patrolman K spoke with Keita's other daughters, Malaya Marie Camila Bynum, 26 of 05, and Eris Jayla Moore, 39 of 2010. Both stated that they just observed Kyla and Keita wrestling on the ground and punching each other. Officers on scene, after speaking with both parties, felt
You keep saying Keisha, you mean Kyla Alicia, right?
Yeah, there's Kyla Alicia Bynum.
She's the defendant. He was the one who hit Keita Moore in the face with the phone.
Yes. No, she approached him with the phone, yes, Your Honor. And then after speaking with both parties, officers felt that Kyla was the aggressor in this case and was subsequently arrested for domestic violence and transported to Trenton PD without further incident.
Based on your sworn testimony, I find that the crime of assault or assault and battery was committed. There's probable cause to believe the crime was committed by the defendant and unauthorized the issuance of the complaint and warrant. Your complaint has September 6th. I'm changing the date, initialing it. Today's date, September 8th, and I will go ahead and authorize. Is the defendant ready for arraignment?
Yes, sure. Let me go get her.
Do we have the lawyer? The lawyer. Yeah. Who's the lawyer?
Teal. Sorry,
Is he, I know. All right, let me go on to another one. Capital One versus David G. Bosquet, 2501643.
Good morning, Your Honor. Dylan Clark, the 88474, here on behalf of plaintiff.
Where is the defendant, David Bosquet? Is he out there, David Bosquet? We have to get the defense lawyer. I'm going to
Your
get.
Honor, he was also on a tablet, so he
Mr.
should be.
Bosquet, I need you to state your name, sir. Is he out there?
Let me bring him here.
Well, he's trying to connect, so maybe
Right.
he'll.
Feels right.
Let me recall Bynum. Kyla Alicia Bynum, 25T721182. Ma'am, your name?
Kyla Bynum.
Detective?
Detective Corporal Sean Spagnac, Trent Police Department.
And Ms. Patillo.
Dion Patillo on behalf of Miss Bynum.
Good morning. So for purposes of arraignment, I've authorized the complaint and warrant. How does she wish to proceed?
She stands mute and waives reading, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea. Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything. If you choose to say something in or out of court, whether orally or in writing, it can be used against you. You have the right to be represented by a lawyer, not only today, but at all subsequent court proceedings. If you cannot afford one, you can apply for one. I'm looking at your petition. I'm going to go ahead and appoint you a lawyer going forward. And again, if you ever choose to submit to questioning with law enforcement officials, you do have the right to be represented by a lawyer at that questioning. Do you understand all that? Ma'am?
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Patillo, fine.
Yes, Your Honor. So this was a family matter. I know the court's goal is to
Wait, I'm losing you. The court's goal is what?
to make sure that Miss Bynum appears for all of her hearings and that there's no danger to the not a flight risk. So the only criminal history that I see, there was a hit and run, and then she had an arrest when she was 15 years old. She doesn't have any children. She's not employed at this time. She just quit her job last week to move to the state of Maryland. This was a situation between her and her mother. Her little sister was involved. So I would be asking if the court would consider a personal bond. I don't believe.
Where does she live in Maryland?
She's going to be living with her aunt. The address to her aunt's, the address is in her phone, so she can't provide it to the court. But she does plan to go live with her aunt in Maryland. Her goal is to go to nursing school. She's been in jail for 5 days. So I would ask if the court would consider a personal bond.
Any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I want you to listen to me very carefully. I will give you a $1,000 personal bond, okay? You can leave the state to go to Maryland. She has been printed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot violate any law or ordinance. You must appear in court as directed. No contact with the victim in this case. Keita Moore, you cannot write her, phone her, see her, text her, email her, communicate with her, or have anybody else do any of those things for you or on your behalf. You're not to enter the premises. Keita Moore lives on 5th, right, Detective?
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot enter the premises at 2850 5th Street in the city of Trenton. Do you have any belongings there, ma'am?
Yes.
I'm going to allow you one visit and one visit only, accompanied by the police, to go back there to get your own personal belongings. So they'll make arrangements. You can't go back there without them. So no contact with Keita Moore, prosecution witnesses. You're not to enter 2850 5th in Trenton. You're allowed one visit to acquire your own personal belongings. You're not to possess firearms. You're not to possess dangerous weapons. Defendant to provide court with address in Maryland by 4 p.m. today. Any reason you can't do that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a pretrial date in this case. I'm appointing you a lawyer. You can appear by Zoom, by the way. I'll make a note of that. Can appear by Zoom. Do you know how to use Zoom?
Yes, sir.
You can appear by Zoom, and I'll set your court date for September 16th at 9:15.
Your Honor,
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we just received an appearance for Miss Bynum. Did you want Lisa to have him call in?
Who's the lawyer? Did you hire a lawyer?
Justin Zayed from Zayed Law.
Did you hire him?
Yeah, but he wasn't answering my dad over at the weekend, so I didn't know he was showing up or not.
Did you know anything about this by chance, Miss Patillo? I don't see any reason to stop this. September 16th. I mean, I'm giving her a personal bond. You can tell him I set it for September 16th at 9:15. We didn't know about it till the arraignment bond was concluded, and that's what I'll do. And he's free to show up on the 16th. Okay. Assuming he's entering an appearance, and he did enter an appearance, you said, I believe. So, yeah. So tell him the court date will be September 16th. Linda can. Lisa
Yes,
can
I
let
did.
know.
I did.
Okay, ma'am. So you're going to be released, and talk to your lawyer and tell him the court date. Again, that is 1 week from tomorrow. Okay. You understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Detective.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Do I have Capital One versus Bosquet? 2501643. Mr. Clark, your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Dylan Clark, the 88474 here on behalf of plaintiff.
Mr. Bosquet, you got to start your video, please. Is he here? He's out there. He's not connected. Is he down the hall or what? I wonder. Oh, there he is. Okay. Mr. Bosquet, you're muted. Start your video and unmute and tell me your name. You have to start. There you go.
David Bosquet.
I need you to, there you go. Okay. I think it'll be easier if you just walk in the courthouse here. Why don't you walk in the courtroom? Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Come on in if you don't mind. You all right?
Yeah.
Come on in.
Let us hear the podium now. Sure.
Yes.
Let us hear the podium.
If you prefer to have a seat there, I don't have a problem. Right there.
You want to sit right there, sir? Sit right there.
Right there. Yeah. How you doing?
Hey, so far.
Okay. Have a seat. State your name.
Gordon Bosquet.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Clark, your name again.
Dylan Clark, the 88474. Yeah.
We adjourned this motion to set aside default judgment, right? Mr. Clark?
I wasn't aware of that, Your Honor. If that's true or not.
I don't remember why I did that, Linda. Do you have any notes? I adjourned it all the way. Were you guys going to check
Yes,
into this fraud? Was that maybe it? He claims there was fraud.
I'm not seeing anything in my system. I'm not seeing anything in my system that indicates that we looked into fraud here.
Why did I adjourn this, Mr. Bosquet? Can you tell me?
Say again, please.
Why did I adjourn this again? Can you tell me? You were here in July about this. I don't know why I had adjourned it.
I was talking where I could be heard.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may, we did contact our client, and our client provided us statements. It appears that the defendant was he claimed that some of the charges weren't his, and we since have received those statements, and everything looks good on our end from what we received from our client.
And what do you mean by that? It means that you think that he did use those or make
Yes.
these purchases.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Sir, why should I set aside the default judgment here? Why should I set aside the default judgment?
What does that mean?
I mean, you can't just come in and tell me, Judge, we've been scammed by Publishers Clearinghouse. What is this transaction? RTN direct debit payment Kona, post date August 21, $10,039.91. Can you tell me, counsel?
Direct debit Kona. I am looking at that statement.
That appears to be the source of the complaint, right? I don't know what it is. Sir, did you have a Capital One card?
I did. I don't know where it went.
Are you telling me you did not make this purchase? There seems to be a transaction on August 20 that was posted August 21, says direct debit payment. What in the world does that mean? It's a Capital One card. Can you enlighten me, Mr. Clark?
I am not sure. I'm looking at the statement that has that from August 20th. I mean, Kona is a common acronym that Capital One NA uses. But I am not sure what that was for. And to be frank with you, Your Honor, I have nothing in notes that came back from the client after the fraud investigation was undergone.
Say that again.
Which I have no notes from my client post fraud investigation that indicates that is anything that they found that would be indicative of fraud.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes, sir.
I want you to listen to me. Will you listen for a second?
Yes.
Okay. You're in a courtroom.
Yes, sir.
You remember everything here? Who's this with you? Is that your daughter? Who are you?
Distant relative.
Mr. Vasquez, look at me. This looks like you made a purchase of some kind for $10,039.91 back on August the 20th. It would have been a 24, right? You remember making such a purchase, sir?
Didn't purchase with when I did have that car, and all they did was I couldn't. They didn't. They wanted to. They didn't. They didn't allow me to use the well, from where they accepted. They said they would give me another card, but they never did.
What did they look into, Mr. Clark? You're saying your client didn't notify it was fraud. This is a strange looking statement. It is one purchase on there for $10,039.51. Now, let's see, went out and bought a used car or something. I don't know what you spend $10,000 on, unless you bought a suite to the Tiger game or something. I don't know. But the point is, go back to your client. Why didn't you respond to this? Sir, can I ask you an honest question? Listen to me. Look at me. Look at me. Do you remember everything? I mean, anybody told you you're having a problem with your memory or anything?
Just that they went back so far.
I want you to listen. Do you remember what you did yesterday and a year ago and 6 months ago? Can you remember all that?
Yeah, it comes up there.
Yeah, I get it. I don't remember everything that happened yesterday either. I get it. Look, council, they didn't do their work on this. If they did, they didn't do it very well. I need more of an explanation. I'm setting aside the default judgment. Default judgment is set aside. He's at least raised the issue of fraud. Listen very carefully. I want everybody to listen very carefully. I don't know how you defend this as a layperson. It'd be like me at 83 or 67 trying to give myself a root canal. Not going to happen. He needs to file an answer to the complaint. I'm going to give you 1 extra week. Counsel, will you prepare the order? Defendant has 28 days to file answer to complaint and affirmative defenses. Young lady, he needs a lawyer. I don't have all the answers here. He's not going to be able to do this on his own. And anybody else doing it other than a lawyer is engaging on the unauthorized practice of law. So will you prepare an order saying I'm setting aside the default judgment? Counsel, the defendant has 28 days to file an answer to complaint, affirmative defenses. And I will set this for pretrial. I'll do it quickly. You have any money? Where do you work at? I mean, where did you work at?
I worked with people with, it's difficult to say it. I wanted to just say what was going on. I got a phone call.
Young lady, come on up here.
Yeah.
Please.
You can stand right at the podium.
What's your name and what's your relationship with him?
My name is Holly Tiss, Your Honor.
Tiss?
Thisse.
Thisse. Okay.
And my husband's grandfather is first cousins of David's wife. We met them less than a year ago at church by accident. They recognized our.
Say that again.
We met them last. My husband's grandfather is David's wife, Sally's first cousin.
David's Sally's first cousin. Okay. Does he have a hard time recollecting things? I sensed that and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know where he worked?
Ford.
Did you work for Ford Motor?
Yes, 39 years.
Okay, so he's collecting a pension.
Yes.
I don't know what else I can do other than what I just did. He's going to need a lawyer. This is sad when I see these situations. Seems like he's being as honest as he can. Somebody's going to have to get him to a lawyer. I'm going to give him 28. I'm going to give him an extra week to answer the complaint. Okay. I don't know what else I can do. And then Linda set this for a pretrial, and I want it set mid-October. Okay. you guys can just send out a notice whenever you want.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm really sorry. You seem to be a very nice person to help out like that. Not a lot would do that. I wish you well, sir. Sorry, Mr. Clark. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not, but under the circumstances, I think this is my only option that's fair. So that's
It's
it.
all good. It does look like that debit. I know we're past the point now. It looks like that debit may have been a charge off code, because
Okay.
there are a bunch of, it looks like NRA membership fees that have been paid. The balance is built up quickly. It's just that last statement looks a little iffy.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but yes, this works for my office. This is fine.
Have a good day. Thank you.
I still have two more with you.
Okay, I'm gonna go on to these criminal cases real quick. Matthew Glenn Malone, 25B148493. Matthew Glenn Malone, 25B148976. Do I have a lawyer here for him? Okay, Ms. Patillo, your name?
Dion Patillo on behalf of Mr. Malone.
Mr. Malone, your name?
Matthew Glenn Malone.
Detective, your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Detective Crystal Tulov, Browntown Police Department.
The two trespassing charges. One emanates from June the 26th. It appears the other one emanates from May the 26th. And it appears as though 23601 and 17707 Telegraph Road were the locations where he was trespassed from. For purposes of arraignment, how does he wish to proceed?
Mr. Malone stands mute and waives reading, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm entering a not guilty plea. Where do you live, Mr. Malone? You still live on Wells Road in Petersburg?
No, it's where my brother lives. I live on the streets.
Slow down. What's your address?
I have no address.
Are you homeless?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I can add some context. So Mr. Malone, his mail goes to his brother's house. And that's one of the reasons that he has these, looks like a failure to appear July 2nd, 16th, and the 30th. The mail that was going to his brother's house, Mr. Malone was not getting it. He knew that this situation was going on. He knew he should have called the court. But he doesn't have an address that he lives at. He just has an address that his mail can go to. He's not employed. He doesn't have any felonies, no children. I would ask for a personal bond. I saw in the file that looks like there's a $3,000 10% bond and then a $2,500 10% bond. But again, Mr. Malone is not employed. So he doesn't.
I know, but how am I supposed to get a hold of him if his brother isn't telling him the court dates and he's got no address? How are we supposed to get a hold of him? I mean, that's the problem. He's going to tell me next time I didn't get the notice. I was homeless. I didn't know where to go. Right? I mean, he gave us an address. We provided notice there. He didn't show up. He probably has talked to his brother. I don't even need to go there. That's the issue.
So, Mr. Malone, moving forward, would you be able to get to your brother's house to get your mail, actually physically go to his house, or at least?
How far is Petersburg? Where in the world is Petersburg again?
It's down by Monroe, Judge.
I would be able to get down there, yes.
Or at the very least, I also told Mr. Malone he can call the court to check up on, his hearing dates.
Well, we sent these out. He had a July 2 court date. He had a July 16th court date. I mean, give me 1 second. July 16th and July 30th. You missed 3 times. What did you think? You were ticketed by the police. What did you think happened to the file? That we threw it in the garbage?
I was waiting for my brother to get a hold of me, but I had no phone. My phone got stolen.
Jesus.
But I can contact the court. That's not a problem.
Detective, what are you asking for?
Your Honor, we leave it in the court's discretion. They stated they wanted to look into records, and so we would just
To verify app.
The rest list says request.
Mr. Malone. This is criminal history like. I don't want you going back to those properties. Do you understand me, sir?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
I hope you do, because I'm not going to be near this nice next time if you keep going back to these properties. Do we understand one another?
Yes, Your Honor. I appreciate you.
$500 personal bond each case. No contact with prosecution witnesses. You cannot leave the state without the consent of the court. You cannot violate a law. You must appear in court as directed. You're not to enter or go near 23601 Hickory Drive in Hickory in Brownstown. And you're also not to go back to the Tele Valley Mobile Home Complex. You cannot go back there, sir. Do we understand one another?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to give you a court date. I want you to etch it in the blackboard of your mind. If you miss again, I'm not going to be nice. You understand? You're going to be sitting in jail for a long time awaiting trial. Do we understand?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Thank you.
Slaver checked in with you? No.
I'm giving you September 24th at 8:30 on these. September the 24th at 8:30 on these. I'm going to send Linda, tell Lisa to send these back to that address, but also to email over a notice to the police department that they can give to Mr. Malone. Okay?
Okay, Your Honor.
Hang on a second, Jimmy. What time that right? 8:30? 8:30. You understand, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll see you back here. When you come in that day, fill out, if he hasn't already filled out a petition, maybe you can just have him fill one out, detective. Make sure you show up. Don't make this worse than it is, Mr. Malone. We understand one another totally and completely, right?
September 24th, 8:30 a.m.
Yeah. Good memory. Have a good day. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Discover Bank versus John C. Hazy. 2500496.
Good morning, Your Honor. Dylan Clark, B88474 here on behalf of plaintiff.
I never had Mr. Hazy check in. I didn't know if he was in the courtroom.
Now, this, correct me, is up for objection to installment payments, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So he wants to pay $150 a month starting August 15th. Somehow this got adjourned until today, right, counsel?
That is correct.
So what do you want to say?
To this point, we've received no payments on the installments. The defendant's asking for $150. My client's standards, I could not go any lower than $318 a month. Usually how these things go, I give my number and then the defendant gives their circumstances and, it goes whichever way it goes. But the defendant's asking for less than half of what my client's bare bones minimum payment would be. So would ask that the objection is sustained.
Objection motion for installment payments sustained / granted. Writ may issue, right? Because they missed a payment?
Correct. Yeah, no payments been made.
Send that over with that aspect that the writ of garnishment may issue and the installment payment order set aside.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's what it was, right? I mean, I get all these papers on these M filings. I just want to make sure. Okay.
No, you got it straight. You're good.
Have a good day. Well, I got one more with you, right?
So I believe one of your clerks called my office. We had a motion for summary, at least in my docket, but I saw that it wasn't on your docket. Something got messed up with the noticing.
Okay, so all I have left in front of me, do we have more down there? Allstate Fire and Casualty. Is that yours? No.
No, I'm Discover versus Curtis.
So I'm just going to go ahead and call my last case here, unless I got more, Linda. I've got Allstate Fire and Casualty versus James.
Yes, that's the last one. The Curtis one, I believe, we looked it up. It's not scheduled till September 30th.
That is a trial, I believe, is what we got on the notice.
I don't have anything on the docket for you today.
Okay.
That's concerning.
Linda, why don't you wait? Let me go on to this last case. Didn't take long. And then you can confer with her by chat or whatever you guys want to do. Maybe go on Zoom together, okay?
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Allstate Fire and Casualty versus James Grilletta and Universal Transport II LLC.
Good morning, Your Honor. Maxwell Quinn, P86016 on behalf of plaintiff.
Come on up here, sir. Your name?
Your Honor, good morning. James Christopher Grilletta.
Who's the principal of Universal Transport II LLC?
They were a trucking company I worked for.
Okay, so you don't have anything to do with it.
Well, I used to work for them. I used to be.
No, I know, but you're not here trying to represent them, right?
No, sir.
What's this stat over, Mr. Quinn?
It's a subrogation action over a car accident. And, I have been in contact with an insurance agent for Universal, and we have been throwing numbers around, and we should be able to resolve this in due time and dismiss the case, but I'll just ask for a standard scheduling order here this morning.
If Universal Transport LLC is in here, did a lawyer enter an appearance?
No, Your Honor.
Well, why am I adjourning it? I'm not sure I get it. They didn't enter an appearance. They didn't file. Why don't you just take a default, or you feel like that's going back on some negotiations you have?
I would prefer to just get a scheduling order.
Well, no, I'm going to adjourn pretrial 2 weeks. Linda, make sure you put on there, defendant must appear. Defendant, Universal Transport II LLC must appear with an attorney. Must appear with an attorney. And I'd appreciate if you'd convey that to them as well. Because if they don't appear with an attorney, I'm defaulting. I'm not going to, I don't know what, they were properly served, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So maybe you'll resolve it. Maybe that'll help you. If you want me to adjourn it more than 2 weeks, I will. It's not that old. You want me to make it 3 weeks for you?
That would be great, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it would probably be 4 weeks.
We'll make it 4 weeks. October what?
6th at 9 o'clock.
October 6th at 9. You have to be there for October 6th at 9.
Okay, Your Honor. With an attorney?
You can technically represent yourself. A corporation cannot. So I don't know who you've talked to.
I didn't even really know why I'm even here. I wasn't caught at fault during the scene of the crime.
Well, it was this is a negligence case. Nobody accused you of a crime, right?
We're not a crime. I apologize for that.
They're saying you negligently operated the motor vehicle.
That's how Allstate described it, but I don't see it as that.
Why don't you contact? I don't see any reason why his employer shouldn't be covering him here, counsel. Do you?
Well,
the carrier.
Correct. Our client did a scrub and, for whatever reason determined that, valid insurance was not had. Insurance agent subsequent to them being served reached out to me, and I've been in ongoing negotiations.
So Universal doesn't have insurance?
No, they've represented to me that they do. And, we're trying to get a settlement and a release done. We should have had it done, prior to today, but we are working towards a settlement and a release right now.
You'll have to enlighten me someday. You have a subrogation action because your client paid its insured's damages, and now you're going after the company that's uninsured, but you're now saying they're insured, right?
I do not have proof of insurance. I've reached out, and
If they provide proof of insurance, their claim's gone. At least some of the claim. I don't know enough about the case, but you might want to go back to Universal Transport and say, hey, you got to communicate with this lawyer. His name is Maxwell Quinn. But I'm not going to get in the middle of this. I'm simply adjourning the pretrial to October 6th at 9. And if somebody isn't here, I'm going to default them. And if Universal is going to show up, they're going to show up with a lawyer, and I'm going to have to default them. Okay? A corporation cannot represent itself.
No, you're not.
Except through a lawyer.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've had all proper documentation for the truck and the trailer. And I showed the officer.
Why don't you send it to Mr. Quinn? Mr. Quinn, what's your address or email address? Wait. Here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to get in the middle of this. You guys go down the hall and you get his email address and you can email it to him or mail it to him, whatever you guys want to do. And we'll go from there. Okay.
He has that information. I mean, I gave
I'll email him right after the hearing, Your Honor.
So they just want to see documentation that we had insurance on the truck and trailer, registration, during the time of the accident. Yeah, we have all that.
Well, then they're going to win. Where's their insurance company in here? I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
October 6th, I'll see everybody here.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Contact anybody personal?
I would.
Because I don't work for them anymore.
I don't care if they've got insurance, you're out of this case. They might have, somebody else might have been hurt and might be suing you. I don't know, but.
I don't know either. We'll figure it out.
Okay, good luck. We'll see you October 6th. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You guys have a good day.
You too. John.
All right, Mr. Foshag, am I saying that correctly? Foshag and Ms. Whiteside, come on up. Let's see the table here. Mr. Yost, if you would activate your audio video, please.
Hello, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, and folks, here, stand up from where you in. People stand. Thank you. And Mr. Yost, raise your right hand for me. All raise your right hands. Swear that testimony in this case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Maybe see it. And Mr. Foshag or Ms. Whiteside, who's going to be the primary speaker this morning?
I would like to be.
Okay, Ms. Whiteside. You're neighbors of Mr. Yost, is that right?
That's correct. We live 7 houses away.
Okay. And you indicate in your petition that Mr. Yost yells at you, he threatens you. So give me some specifics.
Right. So I would like to speak first because this last incident, and the reason I have to look this way to look at Walker, but I guess the camera is here. But the most recent incident involved me, but I would say my husband is really the target of the anger. But we filed this petition because I was now involved in not feeling safe. So did you want me to just tell you what happened on that incident then? Okay.
And actually, before you start, let me make sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Yost has filed documents himself. Have you reviewed those documents?
Yeah, I have them here. And so what I was going to say, first I have a question because I've never been through this before. Is there a transcript of what's happening right now?
We're making a recording.
A recording, okay.
And if you want a transcript of it later, you can make
We just
that
didn't
request.
see cause to hire a lawyer and file official documents. So there were 2 things I wanted to correct in Walker's statement that are about me. since this is a legal document. And just in case, and my name is not spelled C-A-L-I, it's minor, but if there's a record.
Okay.
That's not correct. If you want to Google me, you won't find me as C-A-L-I. Also, I am not from a wealthy family in Philadelphia. I don't know who Walker's thinking of when he says that in this document. And that is not me. Okay. So just 2 clarifications. So I don't even know, it's been probably 6 weeks ago. We were walking our dogs, and we had our son's dog to the lake, which is adjacent to Walker's property. We have to walk past his driveway to get to a gated community lake. And we saw his adult son, 21-year-old son, walking Walker's dog. George is the dog. Bodie is the son. We've known Bodie his life. He's 21 years old now. Our daughter used to babysit him and his little brother. Our daughter's 32 now. We stopped to talk to Bodie and ask him how he was doing. And we had our son's dog, who was a long-haired dog, and Shaggy, and we've always had labs. And we said, Bodie, where do you get George groomed? We've never had to use a groomer. At that point, I wasn't aware that Walker had pulled into his driveway. I hadn't seen him, didn't know he was there. And this is where it's different than the order of what he says happened. When I was first aware that Walker was present, Bodie turned to the driveway and said, Dad, where do we get George? And Walker came charging out of his driveway yelling, don't you dare talk to my kid. Don't you dare come on my property and talk to my kid.
Yeah, just address me. You know.
Okay. I'm going to see his face.
Right. Yeah, just address me.
Okay. Don't you dare come on my property and talk to my kid. And I'm still shocked. I was in shock. I was like,
We're 30
Walker.
feet. Okay, no, one at a time.
Yeah. I said, Walker, we're standing in the road. We're not on your property. We're standing in the road. And he said, you're in front of my mailbox. And don't you dare talk to any of my kids. And at that point, he says that he told Bodie, go walk his 21-year-old son, go walk the dog. I never heard that. What I saw was Bodie look at the ground and just walk away. And my feeling was, ooh, he doesn't want to be crossways with his dad. So he walked away. Unfortunately, he was a witness, walked away. But the other things that I wanted to correct is that I never saw a phone in Walker's hands. He says he had a phone and had it on speaker, and someone was able to hear. If he had it on speaker and it was in his pocket, I don't know how that witness could have heard accurately. But I never saw phones, so I wanted to correct that. And it's interesting that he documented also in what he filed is the text message he sent not to just one of the board members of our neighborhood association, he sent it to all of them. Although Ted never received a copy, it looked like he was on the list, but we couldn't find it in his phone. But saying in the text message, don't trespass on my property. Where this really concerns me is, does he perceive that his property extends from his driveway to the mailbox? We have to walk down that city road to get to our community park, which we pay, neighborhood dues to use this gated community park, to use the lake. If his perception is that's his property, then since this event, I've been walking with my phone in my hand, with my camera on in case I need to document anything. And it makes me feel very unsafe. The other really important thing I want to correct is that I stepped, there were back and forth yelling between my husband and Walker. I stepped between them because I am conflict averse and I wanted to de-escalate the situation. And I stepped in front of my husband with my hands down and said, Walker, stop. Just stop it, stop. Because he was approaching us and getting closer. And he looked right through me. He was trying to get his face as close to Ted's as he possibly could to yell in his face. And he didn't acknowledge that I was a human being standing in front of him. He pushed into me to get as close. He didn't touch me with his hands. He didn't threaten me, but he pushed into me to get as close as he could to my husband. And when he says in here that Ted said he was going to throw something at him, and he said, go ahead. I think Ted said, I'm going to call the police. And Walker said, go ahead. We went into the, so there was a long period of time before we made it home and called the police, and the police came and took our statements. And Walker says that he sent the text message right away. If you look at the timestamps, you can see he sent it after the police came, the text message to all the board members. But what surprised me next was when the police officer took my statement, he said, would you like to press charges? And I was really surprised. I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, did he push into you? And he said, yeah, he did. And I said, no, I do not want to press charges. I do not want to provoke Walker. I just want him to stop. I want to de-escalate this. But it was important to document it because this is the third time, and I will say honestly that my husband has told me of Walker yelling at him, and I thought I didn't see it, but I saw it this time, and it was shocking, and it came out of nowhere like a rocket, and it alarmed me. The other thing in here that involves me that I want to correct is there was an occasion where Walker asked me to ask Ted to stop talking about him. That did happen, but actually, and he says in here, he talked to me because Ted had stopped talking to him. What actually happened was we walked out of our house with our dog, which I guess is what we're usually doing when we're walking on the street. And there's Walker waiting out on the road in front of our house. And Ted and I were together. And Walker said, Callie, would you please tell your husband to stop talking about me? And Ted was standing right behind me, and it felt really absurd. I'm like, okay. And I turned to Ted and I said, Ted, stop talking about Walker. Because it was like, okay, why don't you just tell him that? He's standing right here. So anyways, I just think he's misportraying the interaction. There's so many more things that I would like the opportunity to correct, but my husband is extremely friendly. He talks to everyone in the neighborhood, and Walker even says that in here. If you want to know what's going on locally, you ask Ted, because he talks to everyone. That is true. And sometimes he talks to excess. That is true also. He's also known to walk through the neighborhood with his blower and blow people's driveways off for them. We have an elderly neighbor. She really appreciates it. We have a neighbor with health issues. He really appreciates it. Not everybody really appreciates it. If they say, please don't do that, he doesn't do it. My husband was president of the neighborhood association, I think we were trying to remember exactly 2 years, and on the boards for at least 3 years. So he's been very involved also in maintaining the community park. He does trim bushes. He loves to do yard work and landscaping, and he doesn't own a machete. I don't know what that's about, but he does have walkers, and he does trim bushes that are hanging out in the road and whatnot. And he does trim the bushes adjacent to the entry to the park, which also is adjacent to the walker's property. That is true. One more thing about that, I guess I want to say, because this has happened since 4 weeks ago when we came to court to resolve this, and Walker asked for an extension. So after this last incident, which happened right in front of the community park, and we ended the situation by getting ourselves inside the park and locking the gate behind us. And Ted and I went and sat on the dock. which is usually a really tranquil place for us. And we were trying to calm down after this last encounter. I said, you know what? I cannot relax here because you can look straight across and see Walker's dog and his properties right there. I'm like, we need to just go home. And Ted said, we need to call the police. Since then, we were in the park and I was laying on the dock and George, the dog, came running in and like trampled me as I'm laying on the dock. George has boundary issues. If someone has boundary issues, it's George, but he's an adult male, unneutered dog, and he behaves the way you would expect an adult male unneutered dog to behave, I guess. But we're like, what are you doing in the park? I stood up and I was like, George, go home, George, go. And I walked him to the end of the dock. But instead of George walking straight up to the gate where everyone comes and goes, he walked to the fence adjacent to Walker's property. And I thought, how is he getting through there if he's not supposed to be able to let himself into the park? And a couple of visits later, when I noticed I was not comfortable to go investigate if I thought Walker was home, but he wasn't home. And I went to look at the fence and it's been unbolted from the post and open, panel's been open so that he can come freely from his own property into the park where I used to feel safe if I could shut the gate behind him. And know also that an unleashed dog isn't going to just let himself in, which you know, and apparently there was a so-called incident with a deer that, I don't know, the board's dealing with it, but I no longer feel safe in the park even because it's completely open to, it's an extension of his backyard now. So that, when I saw what he said about Ted thinks he owns the park, I just thought, well.
And something to do that.
Yeah, I think that was the main things that I wanted to say. Oh, I did want to say something about Ally's declaration. Can we go back and forth, or would you rather finish with me?
Yeah.
Okay. We've been told by several neighbors, again, Ted knows everyone in the neighborhood and they talk to him. It isn't just him talking to them. They come, they approach him, talk to him. And we've been told by several that Walker had been making the rounds and asking people to make a statement against Ted. And they were like, I wanted to let you know. I said no. I thought it was really weird and made me uncomfortable that he asked me that. But so Ally lives directly, her property kind of faces Walker's and then the park. And she and her husband, Travis grew up in the house and they purchased it from Travis's dad and his stepmom, and Ted knows the dad really well, but they've retired and moved out of state. But so Ally, she says she's been there about 2 years. And I just have really strong feelings about this, and I'm going to try and stay really calm. But as a mother, what comes to mind is she might not like how Ted delivered the message, but when you're a neighbor, if you feel like there's something unsafe happening in the neighborhood, if you see something, say something. And I'm upset because our daughter used to babysit for Walker and his first wife, Anne Marie. And she spent a lot of time in that house. And when you find out later, it wasn't safe. You feel like you didn't protect your child. And I would want, if I was Ally, I would want to be told. If someone had concerns, I would want to be told. And what Walker doesn't like is that we're friends with his ex-wife, Anne Marie. We're friends with his ex-wife, Bobby Sean. We're friends with his adult sons. And we're friends with them. And he might not like us talking to them, but they're human beings and they have a right to say they don't want to talk to us, but I don't think Walker has a right to tell us we can't talk to them. And we know because of talking to them that they both have had protection orders and that there have been incidents in the home. And I think there's a duty to warn, and if you see something, say something. And I don't always like how my husband delivers messages, but I think it was important to say something when you know that there's a child playing in the home. I do want to say, I don't think Walker would hurt the children. I would hope he wouldn't hurt the children. I'm not saying that he's a threat to the children. I just know, because I've witnessed it, that he has a short fuse and a very aggressive anger. And it's intimidating and it's scary. And I wouldn't want my child to be present when that goes off. That's what I want to say about Alice. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Ms. Cruz, do you have questions?
Yes, I do, just briefly, Your Honor. I do know. Okay, so I want to talk about the most recent incident on July 26th. And I have, I guess, a question for either one, because
yeah, right now it's just questions for Ms. Whiteside, since she's the one who just finished testifying.
okay. Well, I guess, I mean, she's already testified, but Ms. Whiteside, is this the most recent incident that you testified to? Is that the only incident that you have with Mr. Walker in what you describe as acting this way?
With me personally, yes.
Okay.
When he asked me to tell Ted to stop talking about him, he was very calm. I appreciate it.
Okay. So he was calm.
In the other incident, this incident, he was everything but calm. He was enraged.
Okay. And you've known Walker for 20 plus years, correct?
Correct. We knew his wife, Anne Marie, before that, actually, before they moved in the neighborhood. But yes, we've known him.
Okay. And so you've had many, times where you've spoken to him, and nothing like what you're testifying today has ever occurred to you.
Well, I will say I don't go out and talk to the neighbors as much. I walk the dog and I say hello to people, yes. And I expect them to be friendly, and I would expect Walker to be friendly. And yes.
Okay, I just want to know that you've had
I'm
other
more of an
encounters.
Introvert, and I don't socialize in the neighborhood as much.
Okay, but you've had other encounters, correct, with my client in these about 20 years, correct?
He was never.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I know Walker well at all.
Okay.
But I have had encounters.
Okay. The incident where you're saying his dog ran over to you, when was that?
Actually, I'm gonna. We don't need to get into that. That's not going to. Okay. Well,
in the last.
No. Okay. Hold on. That's not going to play into my decision regarding a order between the parties. What happens with the dog? So.
Okay. I don't have any questions for Carolyn.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Foshaw, go ahead.
My name's Ted Theodore Foshaw. I'd like to make a couple interesting points. When Walker was interviewed by the police, he said that I had it looked like a water bottle. And now in this sworn statement right here, he says it's a wine bottle and I was going to hit him with it.
Okay.
It was this.
This is what we'd gone to a concert at San Michelle Winery. This is the glasses they give you. I thought it was cool.
Plastic.
It's plastic. It's light as if it
might have looked like glass.
And there was about this much. It was a mix of a little bit of wine and spindrift. And I was like this. Callie's head was here, and his nose was right here in my face, just screaming. And I'm like, Walker, I'm going to throw this at you, meaning get back. I wasn't going to hit him. I wasn't going to, do that kind of thing. But to have somebody spitting, screaming, beat red head and face, going, "Don't talk to my fucking kids. Don't you get on my fucking property." And we're like, hey, we're at the park. Leave us alone. That's what's been like. Prior to that, I'd spent 3 hours working at the park. Came down with my dog, taking a shower. I'm opening the gate. It's a very heavy, large lock with a too short chain. So I'm fiddling, trying to get it undone. And here comes his dog around the corner. He's a big dog. He's probably 80 pounds. And he's a nice dog, but not to other neighbor dogs. I now know of 2 people that were so. But anyway, this is important because he said in there that I let his dog out. And I said, what? And the dog pushed so hard, it pulled my finger back, trying to get my finger out of the lock and shoved the gate open. I'm like, geez, George, this is what we deal with all the time since he's had that dog. He takes off. I'm like, George, get back here. I didn't know if his dad was in the park or not. So I'm going, George, and he comes around the corner. He goes, did you just do what I think you did? This is how he talks to his neighbor. And I said, what do you mean? George just pushed me and about ripped my finger off. And he goes, yeah, you let my dog out. I said, no, I did not let your dog. He wouldn't quit. I said, fine. I turn around, I start walking away, and he's coming after me. Literally 2 fists in the air going, I'll fucking beat your head in. I'm like, what? And I'm walking faster. I don't know where the dog was. And in here he says, my dog could get hit by a car. It's a dead-end road, first of all. And said that he's so worried. He keeps coming. I have sworn at him one time. I said, F off. I'm sick of this. That's the one swear word. If he says I swear at him, tell me some of the swear words. I have never sworn. I don't cuss. I don't yell at my kids. I don't swear to my kids. He kept coming. So I turned around and I headed two houses down is the president's home, and her husband was there and she wasn't. I was so shaken, like right now. And I'm like, guess what just happened? Good Lord, I can't believe it. Where's this going to go? I called the police on that. But of note, he talks about the dog being unsafe and that I let him out on purpose. Guess what? Wednesday morning, I had a contractor at my house. We were at the end of his tailgate was right on the road, looking at his product sample for gutters. I'm looking over, and here comes George out of our front yard. I didn't see Walker anywhere. I don't know if he was
walking. The dog isn't important.
Well, I realize that, but the complaint is I let his dog out on purpose, and here's his dog in my yard. Was he worried that he was going to get hit by a car? I don't know. But Walker has a very suspicious nature. He sends me this picture, and it's the neighbor lady who's the president in the park with a contract.
I'm sorry. I haven't seen that, Your Honor.
Okay. So you want to? Okay. Anyway, it's a picture he sends to me. And I said, why are you sending me this? And he goes, you know all. It's because there were 2 gates that went to the side of the lake property that's adjacent to his property. They were always collywobbled, and that's how the dog used to get through. And he was asked over and over. Finally, the board spent $1,000 to have those 2 gates removed and new fence put in with the metal cleat and all the clips. That's what's been unattached and removed, and now it's hanging over. We just paid $1,000.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevance.
And all right, Ms. Cruz, as you can tell, I'm giving lots of leeway here. So.
Well, the point is a lot of the contention is his dog down on the lake. Another thing that happened recently, his dog jumped in. This leads to Allie. His dog jumped in, and he comes at you like this, trying to get you. Big dog. And she had just gotten off her paddleboard. We're coming up to the dock, and I'm like, yeah, trying to hold George back. Finally, Walker shows up on the dock, and he's like, George, I'm not kidding. He staggers about 3 or 4 times. I'm right here watching it. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Finally, he reaches in, he grabs the dog's collar, jerks him out of the lake, and throws him on the dock. And he stepped backwards like 3 or 4 steps. And I thought, wow. When I talked to Callie, Allie, her little daughter had been down there swimming. She's
Okay.
pretty little.
All right. I don't need to hear everything that goes on in there. But all I need to hear is what happens between you and Mr. Yost.
But he's put this in here, and
that's all I need to hear.
Her statement says, I said he's a habitual drunk. I've seen Walker drink beer a few times. He's not a habitual drunk. I never said that. Why would I say that? I just said it's weird. It seemed like he might have been. Anyway, yes, I did make a statement with his custody issue because I knew somewhat of it had been going on. I had heard some of the noises. I had seen some of the things happening, and this was a pattern from his prior 2 boys and their mother. Walker called me one day and said, Ted, give me a ride to pick up the boys. I'm like, whoa. He goes, I'm at your car. I came outside. I drove him over, pulled up the driveway. He rolled the window down about 2 inches. He leans back and he goes, where are the boys? To Anne Marie, the boys' mother. She said, Walker, you are 20 minutes late. They are finishing their dessert. She goes, they were out here. And he goes, get them now. And rolled the window up and looks over at me. And I thought, you'd be like that in front of me? So Anne Marie's tone of voice was very strong because of what she's dealt with for years. So I've had 2 neighbors approach us walking in the last couple of days. One of them said, you know that we don't go down the street anymore because George attacked our dog and when our husband picked it up.
He just wants
But I didn't go down and say anything about that. If I was so angry and going to run down and give him a bad time around, I don't go on his property. I will tell you, true fact, about 2 years ago, after he bought the house, I don't know the exact time frame, and the gentleman that had the person come and do the tree work said, I don't remember dates like that, and I don't want to get involved in the Walker Triangle. But I heard chainsaws. We have covenants in our neighborhood, but the main thing is his property is on wetlands. I walked down there and I said, Walker, what are you doing? And he immediately went into off my property, go, blah, 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 and walked all the way to, and I'm like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. But he clear cut all the way to the lake on land that is not his and on wetlands, which is totally wrong. So have I been on his property? He says I go on his property about 2 years ago. I haven't set foot. I used to blow his driveway. I'd take his garbage cans in, but 4 years. We've been to their kids' birthday parties. And he says that I snoop in his finances. I was at the birthday party one time downstairs, and Anne Marie comes in and goes, so-and-so's at the door. They send him down. They went into a small room. It sounded like they locked the door behind him. He came out. He had a very old paper grocery bag that had been rolled and was all wrinkly under his arm. He turns around and heads up, and boom, turns around, there's Walker, and he goes, yeah, his friend came by to pick up some books. Books?
Okay.
Yeah.
You're getting into things.
But he says, I've meddled in his finance. Like, you haven't been to work in 3 years. How do you pay all your bills? So, yeah.
All I want you, Mr. Poshak, is to tell me why you need a protection order, not all the different.
Because this is the 3rd time this has happened to this level. And I know he's under a lot of stress, financially, emotionally, hired multiple lawyers, fighting another protection order. I get that. That's why we don't want anything to do with him. I was on the board for 20 some years. I went off, and as soon as I got off, they need people. People don't want to be on the board. Walker was there. I wasn't. We were out of town, so he's on the board. So I approached the president and said, do you really want someone on the board that has been arrested for domestic violence. Is that okay to be on the board? And I said, I don't want anything to do with the board. I won't run for the board again until this changes. I've mowed the lawn down there for 7 years. I don't do
Why do you
anything.
need protection from Mr. Yost? That's all I need.
Because with my wife there and with his son standing there, here's what triggered him. I could see his son standing at the corner like this, witnessing him running over after us. He turned around and started to walk away. And then he turned back and I don't know what he was yelling. It was all so loud. And I said, Bodie, do you see what we have to put up with your dad? That's when he walked away. And then Walker told him, go walk the dog. He just yelled it at him in the same tone he was yelling at us. And to have him bump into Callie and be right here, that's like, what does it take? The first incident like that, when he came after me, I called the deputy and he said he was going to beat my fucking head in 3 times. And he said,
when did that occur?
I don't have that report right here in front of me. It's in the record. It's through the sheriff's department.
Seems like that was before COVID. It's been years ago.
Not before COVID.
There was no.
Just give me an approximation. A year, 5 years.
A few years, yes. But that it hasn't been that long. Anyway,
Get focusers.
the deputy sheriff's asked me on the phone. My grandfather's a deputy sheriff. I grew up playing in the jailhouse. Okay, I have great respect for law enforcement. He said, "Did he say he would kill you?" And I said, "No, he did not say he would kill me. He said he would beat my effing head in. Let's have it out. Come on, right now, me and you." And I'm like, that doesn't, I said, can you just go talk to him and say, hey, did this happen? Like, no, we don't have the deputies to do that.
So,
but
there's that incident. There's the incident in front of the mailbox. You said there was a third.
When he came into our drive.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Cruz, any questions for Mr. Poshak?
Yes. The incident where you said he came into your driveway, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is not something that was in your petition, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. How long ago was that?
Probably 2 years ago. Wouldn't you guess?
Time is so weird. We've lived there so long.
We've lived there 27.
I would say, I mean, I think what we're getting at here is.
I'm sorry. Right now, it's just Mr. Poshak answering. Okay. But you don't know when it was.
Right.
Okay. Ms. Cruz, go ahead.
But it's been in the 3. Sorry.
Right, Ms. Cruz.
Okay. And will you please remind me what was said in the driveway, since it's not something that was in your petition? I wasn't prepared.
Say that again.
What was said in the driveway? Your
Just
driveway.
exactly what Carolyn said, that he did this thing about saying that he wanted me not to talk to anyone else in the neighborhood. The irony of that is neighbors have come to me and said, hey, have you had problems with Walker?
Okay.
That's what's opened the conversation, because their dogs have been attacked by his dog.
Okay, so just sticking to my question, right? Did my client come to you and did he say not to have any more contact with him?
He did not say that. He did not ever say don't have contact. He did say don't come on my property, which I have been there 2 years, at least 2 years.
So he said don't come on my property, and what else was said?
I think he made that fairly short and sweet and walked away.
Okay, so he said,
He didn't
don't.
swear at me that day, if that's ruined. No, he did not.
Okay.
Because he was present.
So on that day, the most recent incident, when you are walking on July 26th, you state in your petition, you're walking to kind of this neighborhood park, correct? I just want to
Yes.
be clear that you walked up to Bodie. Bodie did not walk up to you.
Bodie was standing at their mailbox right at the corner. It looked almost like he was leaning instead. That mailbox is about 30 feet from the end of his driveway.
Just to my question, sorry, you went up to my client's son. My son's client did not walk up to you, correct?
Who's 21 years old. But
Correct.
what you have to know, he stops in our yard.
Please, you walked up to his son, correct?
I did.
And this was
And so did
after you've had prior incidents where he says, stay off my property, where you allege that he said he'll beat your fucking head in, and such. You still went up to his son and felt that that was appropriate, right?
I don't have any problem with his son. His son loves us. He's asked us to walk.
I just want to know. And then this is after you made a statement against my client in a family law case involving another child. Is that correct?
My statement against Walker. I didn't make a statement against Walker. What I said is, here's what I experienced.
Okay, you made a statement in my client's family law case, not on behalf of him, but on behalf of the other party involving his child. Is that correct?
I made a statement about what happened between us.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, and then however, you stated that you have been on his property, correct? Is that right?
I stated I have been on his property.
When there was a tree cutting
I've been in his house and at his children's birthday. My daughter babysat for over a year.
Sir, you walked on his property during the tree cutting incident. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And did he kind of guide you off of his property and let you know he did not want you on his property?
Guiding or threatening me?
Did he lead you off of? Did he let you know he did not want you there?
Correct.
Okay. Were you confused by that?
I had not seen that kind of behavior from Walker, but I know he has boundary issues. I know that about his childhood.
Okay, but you're stating that my client has boundary issues?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he won't leash his dog.
Hold on, sir. Sorry.
Many of the neighbors. Those are boundary issues.
Sir.
Yeah.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. I just have some questions for my client.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so Walker, are you there?
Yeah. Do you want me closer?
Yep, I've just got some questions for you. The petitioner here, he's been a neighbor for 20 years, give or take. Give me a quick overview of your relationship and how it's progressed over the years, just quickly.
Oh gosh, quickly, 20 years. Let's see, I've known Ted and Callie for 20 years, and we share a mutual friend who's been friends with their family for more than that. So there was definitely some camaraderie in that sense of, oh, okay, I have a good friend, they're friends. And but I didn't know Ted. And then the first time that I met him outside of the park was at Fred Meyer, and Ted would always talk for extended periods of time. You know, I drive by, we talk through the window, and then at Fred Meyer one time he stepped right in front of my cart and started talking. And I was like, huh, okay. And I just leaned back on my cart and he talked for 45 minutes. And I was just amazed. And then after that, I kind of just knew that this was Ted, that this was the man that was going to keep talking. And so after that, I literally would just say, bye, Ted. And I would just drive off or walk off with the understanding that I was being rude and a general respect to most people. But with him, it was a mandatory thing for me to carry on with my day. Let's see. I did split with my first wife, and I was never around when their daughter came and babysat, so I don't even know if that's true, but sure, I don't see why not. And I think at some point, she moved out. I moved back into the house in the hopes of purchasing it, and my name was on the lease. And we had a good friendship. I felt neighborly in that regard. I mean, I pressure washed his roof. As a thank you when I wasn't living there because, I was just being kind, neighborly. But then it kind of shifted. I don't know why or what happened. And it sort of occurred after the time he came onto my property and started yelling and cursing about the tree trimming. And I just was kind of shocked, and I walked him gradually just as he spoke, and I spoke. He followed me. I walked him up to the driveway, and then that was him getting off. And I never cursed at him. But he did ask me at that time, why I wasn't allowing him on my property, and he asked me why I was upset that he came on my property. And I told him then that, you're not in my friend circle, Ted. And he seemed very upset by that. And I said, you're close. I said, we share a very mutual friend who is, and, but you talk behind my back, you tell people my business, and I've asked you not to do that. And it continues to happen. And, that was the end of that. And it wasn't anybody yelling that I recall, other than when he came onto the property and was cursing at me for having somebody trimming branches on my tree on my property. But after that, he stopped talking to me, and he was very curt and rude. And I saw him in Cali on the dock, and I said, hey, Ted, it's all love, man. Like, just because you're not in my circle doesn't mean like I don't care for you. And he ignored me, and I was like, okay. And then after that, I heard that he was telling people that I was dealing drugs. And I was like, what? And so then I bumped into them as I was walking my dog, and they were walking their dog. And I spoke to Callie because he wasn't talking to me. And I asked her to tell him to please have him not tell people lies about me. I didn't even know about the one he's telling people I'm a drunk. I don't drink, so I don't know what he's talking about. Never been drunk in front of him or anybody. So that was the first kind of like interaction. I didn't curse at him. The other time we were in the lake, I was in the park before him, I guess. And he walked in. I was down by the water. My dog, when he hears the jingle of the gate, he runs, and Ted let him out. And I just walked over and I said, Ted, why are you letting my dog out? And it's at the end of a road, but there's a continuation of a road. There's 5 more houses that have cars coming. So yes, there is a danger for him to get hit by a car. I called my dog back in, and I said, why are you letting my dog out? And he started cursing at me. And I don't know why he was angry with me for asking him why he's letting my dog out. My dog is a golden doodle, so I don't know. Anyways, I was threatened at that point. I never went on the other side of the gate. I simply called my dog back in. I closed the gate. He's yelling at me. And I said, do you want to keep cursing at me? Why don't you come back on this side of the gate? And then he walked off, and that was the end of that. As for him getting involved in my case with the mother of my child, that was quite shocking. I don't know why he thinks he owns my house or ever owned my house. That was a little bit weird. He never has. What else are we talking about? So then after that, Oh, what happened? Oh yeah, we didn't have any contact after that, like nothing. I was like, okay, well, there goes that relationship. And then I heard about him telling my neighbor that I was a drunk, and I was like, this guy's still going on. And then what else happened?
Just the most recent incident, really quick, involving your son.
Oh, that one. So then I drove home and I'm sitting in my car, I'm talking to Russell, and all of a sudden I hear him. I wasn't even going to get involved in it. You know, if he's talking to my son's an adult. Okay. You know, like I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But then I heard him asking my son where we get our dog groomed. And after him filing his thing with the mother, I didn't feel safe with any information being given to him about my life. And so I stepped out of the car, I walked calmly out, and I said to my son, I said, we do not talk to him. We do not share information with him. Please just go walk the dog. At that point, they were very upset that I had interrupted this conversation. And he started yelling at me, no one likes you, you're a fucking asshole. And then I started yelling at him and said, do not speak to my children. Do not speak to my children, Ted. And he started cursing at me, saying I was drunk, saying all these crazy things to me. And I said to him, you need to stop. You need to stop talking to my children. And instead of him just saying, okay, he kept saying that I was these terrible things and cursing at me. And at some point, because I'm yelling at him, he threatened to throw that thing at me. I didn't know what it was, other than it was a cup filled with something that looked red. And at that point, his wife, who had been off to the side, not involved in our yelling, jumped in front of him, because if he had thrown at him, then it would have been assault. And at that point, you know, my friend who was on the phone, Russell, was just like, walk away. And I did. I walked away. I never raised my fists. I never threatened him. I never touched Callie. Yeah. I mean, that was that.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I think my client has kind of he's cleared everything up. I just have a quick closing.
Okay. Just a moment.
Can I respond to his?
In 2 minutes. Right now.
Oh, 2 minutes.
You get 2 minutes.
Okay.
No more than that.
He did not hear me ask his son where the grooming was. As soon as he pulled up, rather quickly through the door, jumped out, grabbed his sunglasses, and he goes, "Don't touch me. Stay off my." And we're like, "Whoa!" And he goes, "Dad, where do we get George trimmed?" And he goes, "None of your business." And so, did he calmly walk over? No. Was his son worried and concerned? Yes. But I have a concern. He was a witness, and he heard me say, because I could see him stand there, see what we put up with your dad. I said that for a reason, so that Walker could hear that your kids and us are communicating about what you're doing right now. They never interviewed him. But he magically says he had his phone in his hand. He had his sunglasses in his hand. The other hand was open. There was no phone being held up. That's why when we saw this, like, what? You know, I said, did you see a phone? He had his glasses in his hand. So I don't know quite how it happened, because it's not clear from the report, but it's interesting to me. An eyewitness you don't interview, but someone who was on the phone, you call them back and hand them the phone and say, here, this guy listened to the conversation. In the original report, they said that Ted was not yelling or cussing at anyone, but something I could tell they were talking loudly or something like that. In the next statement that he signs and sends into court, he says that I was cussing and yelling. And I find it interesting. What did I say? What cuss words have I used? I have not. I did not call him a drunk. I said to her, I don't know, maybe he was drunk and he was really staggering, and the way he jerked the dog out of the lake and just continued to drag him. back to the dog.
All right.
So
Let's
have I
wrap it up.
cursed and yelled? Did he calmly walk me off the property? Absolutely
Okay,
not.
all right, we've now gone through a number of different incidents. Okay, thank you. All right, briefly, Ms. Cruz.
Thanks, Judge. So pretty much what we have here is I think the past incidents, like we've heard, they're pretty old. But we're not even precisely sure when. 2 years, maybe 3, who knows, possibly 4. But I think my client made it clear. He told them, and which the petitioner testified to, he said he just, kind of said, hey, stay off my property or leave me alone or whatever he said. That was the petitioner's warning. Clearly it wasn't taken. So we have an incident where petitioner is walking up to my client's property when trees are being trimmed on my client's property, which he testified to and admitted that. And then it sounds like the most recent incident, he stopped in front of my client's home, which yes, he can have access to the public roadway, that's fine, but he approached my client's child. Keep in mind that he's been known to blow leaves on my client's property. He just testified that he moved my client's garbage cans. He inserts himself in situations, Your Honor. He made a statement as a neighbor. He made a statement in my client's divorce and custody case involving another child. Why would my client want this person, a neighbor, to talk to his son? And just constantly inserting himself. I think we heard today that the petitioner does have a tendency to talk. So, my client saying, hey, you seem to be an individual who likes to gather information and possibly spread it around. He's made it clear, I don't want you on my property. I don't want you, spreading information about me. I just don't want you to be around me anymore. I don't think the petitioner liked that, Your Honor. I don't think he liked that, and I think that caused some rift between the two. But regardless, my client, we submitted a declaration by another neighbor, which I think is very telling, somebody else in the neighborhood, who it doesn't sound like has, a severe friendship with one or the other. So it's somebody that is removed from the situation and has a lot to say about my client being neighborly and about the petitioner having a tendency to spread information and be in people's business. We also submitted a declaration from somebody who was on the phone with my client stating that he heard the conversation, and he did. My client said, hey, don't talk to my kids. Stay clear of my family. My client's not saying they can't walk in the road, that they can't go to the park, nothing. But hey, don't stop and talk to my kids. Don't be on my property. So if anybody's harassed, Your Honor, it's my client. My client, and he, I found it interesting that the petitioner testified today, quote, we don't want anything to do with him. Then why are they stopping to speak to his son? We don't have any report from any of the times that the petitioner stated that he made a police report. He can't tell you exactly what was said in a driveway incident, and we can't even tell when it was. There's a lot of frankly, Your Honor, and you've heard it, there's a lot of testimony today about a dog. I don't know if the petitioner is angry about the dog, but that is not a reason to get an anti-harassment protection order. And then I don't know whether or not statements were made about my client being an alcoholic or anything like that. I just want to point out that the petitioner was the one, in fact, out drinking wine in the neighborhood and admitted on giving testimony today, admitted on the record that he would throw a drink at my client. So he is the one today who admitted to threatening. So, Your Honor, my client, he doesn't want anything to do with these people. He is not going to their home. They are coming to his son, inserting themselves in his family law case, coming to his property. He has not made himself available to them by coming to them. So we're asking Your Honor to dismiss the petitioner's request today for a protection order. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I also have?
No. I think I've heard enough. Sir.
Could I possibly?
No. I've heard enough. Thank you.
Because there is a factual.
I've heard enough. Okay. There are two ways this can go, based on what I've heard and what I've read. I can enter orders against both of you, or I can not enter either order and say, stop talking to each other. You don't want court orders. You don't want it. We don't want it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deny this request for an order. It's very clear. Both have spent an hour now saying why you don't want the other one to have any contact with you. Both made that very clear to each other. I expect you should honor that. To the extent that you don't, then you have the right to say, okay, after this hour-long hearing in court making it clear we don't want to speak to one another, they spoke to me, they come on my property, whatever it is, you can come back and file a request. But we've laid the bright line here. You both have said, I don't want to have you speaking to me. Now, let me clarify a few things. The road is the road. It sounds like a public road. Standing in front of somebody's mailbox is not being on their property. I'll be very clear about that. So I don't want Mr. Yost saying that if there's a pause in front of his house when they're on the public road, they're on his property. That's not accurate. Also, an adult child is not a child. So if the adult child wants a protection order, the adult child can come get a protection order. But in the meantime, Mr. Yost has no authority to direct somebody else not to speak to an adult. So that authority does not exist. It doesn't have to be respected as part of the understanding here. The understanding here is Mr. Yost will not have any contact with Mr. Foshog and Ms. Whiteside. Ms. Whiteside and Mr. Foshog will have no contact with Mr. Yost. That's what we're talking about here. Also, what we're not talking about here is what people say to others about them. So what Mr. Yost says to others about Mr. Foshog, what Mr. Foshog says to others about Mr. Yost, there's no authority in the court at all to restrict what people say to others about somebody. So that's not ever going to be something that this court will consider. So the fact that Mr. Foshog may have filed a petition or a affidavit in a dissolution action, he has every right to do so. The court has every right to hear it, and that should have no bearing on a subsequent protection order request. Or so all of those things happen, and they are not subject to any court restriction. So I want to be very clear on that. But we will end up being very clear that you both, three of you, have said, I don't want you contacting me, and vice versa. So that's my expectation going forward. That's why I'm denying the request for an order here, because you're all adults, and I expect a very bright line rule you can understand. So that's all we're doing today.
If I'm willing to have the order against me, would you put both into effect?
No, I'm not going to put orders in.
Well, I thought you said that was an option.
It was an option that I was thinking of, but I decided not to do it.
I understand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Yost, the Ms. Whiteside and Mr. Foshog are obviously in court. They'll get a copy of the denial order. If you wish one, you can access it through the district court file.
And what was that, what you were describing that we can do? Do we have an appeal right to this, or what was it you said?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, you can appeal. Yeah, I did not talk at all about an appeal. What I was saying is you have the right to file an affidavit in a dissolution action. There's
That's
nothing
what
wrong
I'm,
with
what
that.
is that?
That's a divorce.
He's saying you had a right to.
Oh,
Right.
okay, I'm sorry.
Whenever.
I thought this
for
was
help.
referring to us directly.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Cleese. Zoe Acosta.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, do you have video there?
I do. Give me 1 second.
Ms. Acosta, we are back here for the third time now with no service.
Yes.
So-
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to leave it at that. I'm not going to set another hearing unless you can tell me you can get this person served and you're certain of it.
I can't find where she lives. I do have proof of attempted service. At this point, there is a probability that she's homeless. I've hired a private investigator. I've done my due diligence on my side to make sure that, or to try to ensure that she is served, but no one can seem to find her. The last known address that she did have was in California. I hired a PI to go out there. They tried to serve her, and they said the homeowner said that the defendant had lived there for like 2 weeks over a year ago, but she no longer lives there anymore. And that's the most recent address I have.
All right. So because you've made some reasonable attempts here to try to get her served and been unsuccessful, we can't just keep carrying this case. So at this point, I'll just enter a denial order on it. But that doesn't mean you can't refile it. So if she gets to a place where you believe you know where she is and you want to refile, you can do so. And we can get this back on. But we're not going to just keep reissuing it for every 2 weeks. So
Right. So what should I do then if I'm getting death threats that involve not only my life, but my family's life as well?
have you reported to law enforcement?
I have, and they said I had to take it up with the court, which is kind of like why I'm here, but then I can't find out where she lives. So
Yeah. Well, if somebody's threatening to kill you, you don't need a protection order to make that a crime. A threat to kill is a crime in and of itself, whether there's a protection order or not. Now, law enforcement tends not to want to have to investigate things that are difficult to investigate in this regard, where she's sending it from, where is she? So they'll say, go to court and get an order, but you can't get an order if you can't get it serviced. So you're hearing the same thing from both places. A threat to kill is a crime. It's the crime of harassment. And if somebody wants to investigate it and track it down using their criminal investigation techniques, they may be more successful in finding where the messages are coming from. But if it's just general threats, they probably won't do anything. If it's a specific threat to kill, they can investigate that. So, as far as an answer to you, I don't know, but like I said, if you get information where you believe you have some sense of where she is, and there's a real good, if she's out of state, you're going to have a hard time, obviously, getting her served. And sometimes it's better to file, if she's in California, for example, she's wherever she is, if she's in Orange County, you file the protection order in Orange County. And I suspect most counties will do what we do, which is allow somebody to appear remote. So you wouldn't have to get down there. You would just have to fill out their paperwork, get it filed in their court. And then if their sheriff can get her served, then you can get an order entered down there telling her to stop doing whatever she's doing, and they can enforce that order. If you're up here and you get an order from here saying she shouldn't be doing that, you're going to have a more difficult time, even if she continues to violate the order, getting a local sheriff down in California to enforce a Washington state order. They may, So, you know, it's a possibility, but that's another thing you can look at doing, but you'd still have to know where she is, because law enforcement isn't just going to go typically looking for her unless they are satisfied that there is a specific crime that's been committed, and threatening to kill somebody is a crime. So,
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the help.
yeah, those are kind of your options right now. So I'm going to enter a denial order, but as I said, if you have information as to where she is and you want to refile, you can do so, and then hopefully you can get her served and we can have a hearing.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Costa.